Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the ultimate guide to playing Wylder in Elden Ring Nightreign. Now, Wylder is an all-arounder style tank. He gets up to 1000 health at level 12, and he utilizes Greatswords, which you can two-hand your starting Greatsword here, or use the shield, which also has a parry ability. So if you're skilled with a shield, you can use that. It also has full physical block in this game, so it's good for a lot of attacks, but our Greatsword is going to give us a lot of damage, and ideally we'd get 2 of them, but the normal combo here is just R1 spam. Everyone knows that, but you do have a nice poke attack which deals piercing after you do a dodge there, so this is a good opener. And if you also do the heavy attack with the right trigger, you also get a nice move as well. But I also recommend going and doing charged attacks, because these are going to deal more posture damage, as well as the jump attacks. Now we got ourselves the Clawshot there, which we can actually do a cool little combo, so you can pull yourself in and do a charge attack like that. There is another relic you can get later on as part of his remembrance quest that lets you do a follow-up fire attack, which is very useful, but you can also use your Onslaught Stake here, and there's a relic which can leave fire on the ground, which is extremely useful on larger bosses. So for this kind of technique, you want to pull yourself in. You can also charge it to make it do a little bit more damage as well. This is a really useful skill for breaking the bosses out of some of the moves that they use, which can completely end your run, which I'll be showing off a little bit later. But don't be afraid to use your shield quite a bit. You can also use a shield, find an opening, and do a charge attack for maximum amounts of posture damage, but I'll show you kind of general way of playing. So day one, the first thing we always want to do is try to get a couple levels first, and then go find ourselves a weapon. It's good to go to different areas like the Oracle Envoys. Any holy damage are going to have either Albanarix or the Oracle Envoys, which are really easy to take out, especially at a very early level, so level 1 or 2 here. Otherwise, you probably want to go to an Everjail if you have someone with a key, because that's going to give you rooms to level up pretty quickly. And I would recommend just looking for a weapon. So I like to use dual Greatswords, but he has good scaling in both strength and dexterity. Strength-based weapons will be the best. I also have a relic that lets me use the Clawshot there twice in a row, which is extremely useful. But you're just going to run around trying to level yourself up as much as you can for the first day, as you want to save the second day for getting upgrades and finding a weapon if you haven't found one already. But you can see here, just doing R1 spam like that, you can actually take out bosses pretty easily. I tried to use the shield there to block at the last second, but keep an eye on your stamina if you're going to be using your block. I was able to find a Greatsword with bleed on it, and that's an extremely useful weapon. Any weapons you can find that have additional statuses on them, if you can get a frost bleed weapon, that's going to be extremely powerful, so always be on the lookout for that. If you can get multiple damage types on a weapon, that just is super useful. But you can see here we have 2 swords there, and we have a huge area of effect attack, and we have jump attacks. So the regular R or L1 button, if you press L1 on PlayStation, or left bumper on Xbox, will allow you to swipe both of them at the same time. And then you can also jump. This is called power stancing, and it's extremely effective. If you can get 2 of the same weapon type, you got a really useful moveset. And the jump attacks with it are pretty powerful, as you can see here. Dual Twin Blades is another really good one, because it can attack 4 times with the jump attack, but Greatswords have really great posture damage. Now, for certain attackers that have a large area of effect, it's probably best for us to get back or use a shield, but you can keep your distance if you know the attacks from the other Elden Ring game. If not, the shield is probably a better way to learn the movesets. Something like a Crucible Knight here can be pretty challenging unless you're using your shield. But others like the Banished Knights, I find they have a bit weaker postures. You can kind of bully them with your dual Greatswords. But yeah, jump attacks can stagger like you see there and takes people out of their attacks. So I always try to use as many jump attacks as possible and charge attacks as well. But when you have 2 weapons, it's typically better to deal more posture damage with a jump attack from my experience here. So any faster swords are good as well. You don't have to stick with Greatswords, but the nice thing about Wylder is he's really good at reviving your team. So if you have your teammates going down, swinging 2 Greatswords will get it down a little quicker. I also like to sometimes grab a dagger for quick revives too, or a bow. Sometimes it's just better to do it from range. And for different types of bosses like this, this one needs a lot of posture damage, so jump attacks were best here. That's what I was always trying to get in the right position to be able to set myself up for that. But you'll see here a little bit later during the final boss of the night that you got some really useful strategies with 2 swords, and also just kind of watching how the boss rolls and fights. Now, getting resistance is extremely useful, so the all resistance up ability there is very useful. That gives a plus 75 to all resistances, so for a boss bosses like the Augur, Maris, Fathom of the Night, which inflicts sleep, this can be extremely useful, as sometimes you could have been taken out if you did not have this ability. So just knowing which bosses have it. Now, when it comes to bosses like this, the jump attacks work very well. This boss can't bleed, so I didn't take it, or I guess I did have the bleed weapon there, but it was a little bit better of damage than the other sword that I had, so I rolled with this one. Know the boss's weaknesses is such a useful skill here. So this boss is weak to lightning damage, so I made sure I went and got a lightning sword, and it also has an ability that puts lightning on it whenever I use the ability, so I was trying to get in there and use it as much as possible. For some of the more fast-paced and more dodge-heavy bosses, Wylder really does well. This is a boss that Wylder doesn't do as good as because of how fast it moves around. This is a game of attrition. You want to keep your healing potions for as long as possible, so if you're still learning a boss movement pattern, sometimes taking a bit of a distance from it just to observe is super useful. But jump attacks, again, will always be one of the best ways to take down a boss, especially when it's going to do something like this where it goes into its, like, this is going to be a one-shot attack if it puts our entire team to sleep, but being able to get into a jump attack or your onslaught stake is going to take it out of it. You'll see later on that I pulled off an onslaught stake and it took it out of its attack there. It could have ended up with wiping out our entire team. Now, watching for attacks like this one has a lot of projectiles that you have to pay attention for, and a lot of the bosses do have ranged attacks, and that's where Wylder has to, like, mobilize himself to the side and kind of flank, and that's exactly what that's for. But you can pull yourself into attacks. This one has these water attacks that it'll do, and you saw there, using your claw shot can get you hit. However, you can dodge while you're doing the claw shot, so while you're midair you can pull that off and keep yourself safe, but using that attack there was enough just to break the posture and then get our critical hits in. Always go for that glowing area there to do your critical hit damage, and if you got any abilities that boost yourself after you're doing a crit, like more health or anything like that, it's nice because you can pull those off. Now this boss, again, very difficult because it moves around, but a good majority of the final bosses in Nightreign do move around quite a bit, so it's important to know how to deal with them as Wylder. So the really big thing is to use your sprint, because you do need to close distances, but situational awareness is also very important, especially with this boss Augur here, because it has this attack coming at you and another attack coming at you, and most bosses will. Like if you go against the Pest, it has the Moth that can shoot at you, the Dragons can breathe fire at you, and then there's always status buildup. So playing as Wylder is sometimes just moving around and just observing, like seeing here, there's a lot of jellyfish, and this is when the boss gets down below 50% health. They usually have a special attack like that they'll do, and you don't want to get too like offensive there and try to attack the boss. It's better just to play it safe, set up with any buffs that you can, put down a healing stone, or use your greases if you may still have some. This boss in particular having a weakness to lightning damage, it was crucial that we got lightning in, especially when it was going to do its special attacks. And you can see there, even just a normal sword attack, I wasn't even able to hit it with the sword swing, so I have to do jump attacks to be more likely to land it. Here it's going into its ultimate ability again. I went with the jump attack, and I figured that was enough, so I went with the ultimate ability there, pulled it off quickly, and it was able to stun the boss while it was doing the sleep. And that gave us a few seconds to wail on it as well. But overall, the big thing with Wylder is make sure you get two weapons that have good strength scaling, do your jump attacks, have a shield for backup, and the starting shield isn't actually that bad either, so it's not a terrible one to hold on to for the entire game, and then you'll be able to take down bosses with ease in Elden Ring Nightreign. If this video was useful, please hit the subscribe button below. Thank you so much for watching, we'll see you in the next video.